There's a lot of salespeople that always speak about the script, the tonality, the strategies, but they don't realize that every single thing you say, how you say it, when you say it, will be auto-corrected if you actually look at the place that it's coming from in the first place. And if you design your mind to be the same as the top 1% of salespeople on the inside, meaning the beliefs, the value structures, the identity that you're operating from, then 90% of the sales strategies will auto-correct because you're coming from the right place. In this video, I'm going to show you the top 3 beliefs that top 1% salespeople carry inside their mind that allow them to perform at a level that you don't understand because you cannot see inside their mind. You can only see what they do, what they say, and how they say it. And you can try to mimic that, but the micro expressions are not going to carry over from you mimicking. The micro expressions are really going to land and come from having the right belief system that precedes your tonality, that precedes what you say, that precedes when you say, that precedes the micro expressions in your body language and all of that stuff. And before we get into those actual beliefs, if you're wondering who the fuck is this guy to tell me anything about top performing salespeople, I've been in the coaching and sales industry for many years now. I started out in door-to-door. Okay, I've had many different companies amongst the marketing agency, a coaching business, e-learning business, and now a life insurance agency. If you want to know more about my life insurance agency, if you want to see all the proof of the numbers, how much my agents are making, how much I am making, how much I have made, which is in the millions, then click the link in the description for a full detailed 40-minute slide-by-slide video that shows you all the proof, because I'm not going to go into all that bullshit in this video. This video is value packed. Okay, with that being said, the 3 beliefs, the last one is going to be the most important, okay, because it's going to be about you specifically. But we're going to start with the first one, which is about general communication. What do you believe about sales? What do you believe about people in general? What do you believe about how people want to be treated, about communication? Because these beliefs about communication in general are going to guide how you go about communicating with another person largely, okay? So the first belief that people in sales have that are top performers is that sales is actually helping people. They don't think of sales in their mind as selling someone. They don't think of sales as, oh, I'm closing this person, it's a win-lose situation. They think of sales as a win-win situation. Now, as I said, these are low-hanging fruit beliefs. Okay, you might have already heard these. We're going to get more complex and deeper in just a minute here. But they do believe, it's very important at the same time, that within sales, you're more so coaching someone, helping someone figure out if this is the right decision for them, and then coaching them into making the right decision for them. Because people often will succumb to their comfort, succumb to their fears, and not take the right action forward for their family, if it's insurance, for themselves, this is a coaching program, which also can be ultimately for their family, for their abundance, for growth, okay? And they usually don't make a growth choice, they automatically will make a comfort choice. And it's your job to coach them through that and make them make the right decision, obviously depending on what industry you're in. The second belief within the first section is that they believe that people want to be led, people want to be sold if it is in the right way, okay? When you have that belief, you're going to be more authoritative within a sales call, right? Because you believe that people actually want you to be the expert, they want you to take control, they want you to tell them what to do. Right? If you are going into a doctor's office, and in that doctor's office, the doctor starts asking you, well, what do you really think about this fucking problem? What medicines do you think you resonate with? Well, they're not going to fucking, you're going to be like, who the hell is this fucking guy? Right? And you're going to go to a different doctor because you're not going to trust this guy. And so from there on, they want you to do that. And if you believe that about people in general, then you're going to do a whole lot better. And also, in terms of a general people belief, it's that people in general are generally nice when you are authoritative and a good person, okay? People are generally wanting to engage with you in communication. People generally like you. All those beliefs are vital when you're going to be bringing up people and doing that for your career. Because, for example, if you believe that all people are evil and nobody likes you and those kinds of things, you're just not going to have the same energy on a call, okay? With that being said, I'm going to go into the second section of beliefs, which is going to be beliefs about the product that you're selling. Now guys, this is vital. We're getting into some fucking really important shit here. Whatever you're selling, the most important fucking thing, okay, about selling that specific thing is that you are 100% sold on it yourself. And to introduce this section of beliefs, I'm gonna give you a little story. But when I had a little door-to-door sales gig when I was like 17, before that, I was doing a bunch of other shit for money that I wouldn't really wanna share in this video. And I got myself together and I was like, listen, I'm gonna, try to do some shit that can make me money and can have a future with it. And essentially got into sales, got into business afterwards, right? Now, I was in this door-to-door gig and there was this one guy on the team who was absolutely crushing everybody, including me. And this guy didn't have anything particularly special about him, okay? This guy wasn't particularly charismatic, wasn't particularly confident, wasn't particularly good with his words. Just wasn't anything you could pin down about him. And then he had to do this this presentation, right, for the team of like, how are you, cranking these numbers out? And then in this presentation, he went through basic shit, basic script stuff. And I was like, listen, motherfucker, what are you actually doing differently? Okay, we already all know this stuff. He couldn't really pin it down himself. Okay, I went away and I thought about it. And I was like, okay, if there's nothing external really that we can pin this down, I shadowed the guy, I couldn't see it. And what I found out after talking to him a little more and thinking about it, is we were selling charity door to door, which is not even really selling something, just having someone sign up and give money to charity, right? On a monthly basis. This guy was just someone that found it incredibly normal to give to charity. He found this completely expected, okay? He was donating to charity himself. He was just that kind of guy, right? He was completely sold on the fact that everybody has basically a duty to sign up for this charity thing on a monthly basis. And that allowed him to communicate that belief system over to the prospects door to door, okay, through his micro expressions that I couldn't even pick up on, that other people couldn't pick up on. Because it wasn't necessarily about like, oh, he's speaking so, fucking suave and this and that. No, it was just this micro expressions where he was just like very assuming that they were going to sign up. It was very expected, okay? And because he spoke in that way, these people that he knocked on doors for, they adopted that belief system within that moment, and therefore they followed the actions that would come from that belief system, right? Because now these people at the door have this slight social pressure that they feel like, oh, this is expected actually, oh, this is weird if I say no, whatever, right? And therefore they were all signing up. It was really that simple. Okay, and so that is the thing that allowed him to produce so highly. So you have to really be 100% sold on the product yourself. Now, how do you do that? It's simple. Obviously, you got to understand that the belief is like a table, right? Like this motherfucker right here. And so you have the tabletop, even though this is a fucking seat. And that thing, that motherfucker right there, is supported by the legs, okay? This one got some two sturdy ass legs right here, okay? And you gotta think of the tabletop as the belief, and then you're gonna support it with references, okay? Now, you can obviously look at references being like, okay, other people are closing high amounts, which means that indeed this is a wanted product. That's a great one. You can look at your own successes. You can look at all those things. But you can also go on ChatGPT and you can start digging in for 30 minutes. Hey, let's say that you're selling life insurance. Why is life insurance so important to have? Okay, what's the problem if you don't have it? Look at the pain side. What's all the reasons why it's shit and bad and almost embarrassing if you don't have it? What's all the positive reasons if you do have it? Now, obviously, you already know this to some extent, but anybody can think of this, right? But hammering it in, looking at it every single day, right? And then looking up story. Like, we had a meeting with the sales team. I currently have a life insurance team of like, more than 30 people. And we had a big sales meeting yesterday. And one of my sales managers, he was like going through an example call. And he showed that this client, wasn't gonna, gave him a lot of resistance, ended up closing the woman. Now, she actually, for life insurance, she ended up passing away. Okay, like 3-4 months later. Now, that is a great reference because look, if you are just getting into that business and people are being sturdy with you, people are being stiff with you, or people are trying to do this later, procrastinate on it, you have seen a reference like that, even though it wasn't even your own reference, you've seen a reference where someone closed a deal like that, closed someone for life insurance, and it really helped them out, right? And that now gives you the permission to push through resistance from a prospect, because you know in the back end they're going to thank you. You know in the back end you're helping it because you built a reference. You build a belief system with a very solid reference. Like, hey, if this person doesn't do it right now, they could actually pass away next month, and their family is going to be absolutely cooked with the funeral cost, cooked with the cremation cost, whatever it may be, right? And cooked with any other costs that come with that. They're not going to be protected. I have to push through for this client. Those are all beliefs that are going to be so fucking vital that I can't even tell you, okay? So those are highly, highly important. Now, from there on, tying into what I just said, they believe that within the product, not selling it to someone is a disservice, is doing them a disservice. They believe you have to get yourself to a point where you feel like it's damn near embarrassing for someone over 55 not to have life insurance, or for someone that's just living there door to door for not to support this charity for $8 a month. You would have to get yourself to a belief that it's damn near embarrassing to do that. Now, for example, for me, once I found out, I obviously changed that, but at that point, I just was a little piece of shit who just didn't give a shit about charity, and I wasn't giving any money to charity. Obviously, I was like 17, and it just was a case where, therefore, I wasn't able to communicate that over, even though I was a pretty charismatic dude already. I was pretty good in communication and stuff like that. But that's why this guy was out close to me, because he just had that belief. And then we're gonna get into the most important part. I'm gonna take my glasses off for this part, because it's actually getting darker here. And those are beliefs, guys, about yourself. The beliefs that you have that construct the identity that you have for yourself. Because these beliefs have an influence on everything, right? The previous beliefs have an influence on, obviously, communication, on, obviously, how you present the product, how you talk about the product, that kind of stuff. But these beliefs have an influence on everything, okay? And so the beliefs about yourself are the biggest leverage point. Because if you, for example, believe that you're just someone who is not a good salesperson, or you're just someone who's not that likable of a person, not that charismatic, not that authoritative, whatever, then you just are not going to be able to behave like that. Or, for example, let's say that you're rising up in the ranks in your sales company, but then you believe subconsciously that you're just not a winner. You're just not, within any group, you're just not the best. A lot of people actually, if you really start fucking dialing in on this, a lot of people actually have that belief because they grew up in high school, they grew up in middle school, whatever, and they just were, I personally never fucking finished high school, and they were never the cool kid in the class. They were never the best in gym class, whatever, and they carried that identity over into their professional adult life. Okay, and so you got to check in with those things. And so, by the way to change any belief, guys, is 3 simple steps, and I'll expand on this right after I finish these beliefs, which is, number 1, awareness of what's not working, okay, awareness of what needs to change, then choice of what will work, and choice of what will be workable for the results that you're looking for in your life and in your sales career and in your professional career, whatever it may be for you, right? Because honestly, this extends way beyond your sales. And number 3 is condition. Then from there on, you have the awareness, you have the new blueprint, and then it's just about conditioning in the new belief systems so that it's a new habit. All that beliefs is a habit of thought and a habit of action, okay? And so we often think about habits just as like brushing your teeth every night, but habits are also habits of thought, patterns of thought. And so the more times that you operate from a certain belief system, the more solidified it becomes, and the more it becomes you. And if you want to break that, then you need to stop yourself whenever you're going down the old belief system, right? That place that you're coming from. So you say, not that, this. And then you shift into the new belief system. You break the pattern and you go into a new pattern of behavior, of habit, okay? And the more you do that, it will become your new identity. Identity just means whatever is already ingrained, whatever is already your default, okay? Whatever is already your habit. And so you got to understand that your identity is on the macro perspective, what you already solidly are in terms of what you will do as per default, and what I call your momentary place of coming from, what I call that is your mental stance. Okay, your mental stance simply means the position, the stance that you have mentally. Just like you have any physical stance, okay? If you're gonna start boxing, right? And you're gonna stand like this, then your coach probably can tell you it's not fucking optimal. Put your fucking hands at your face, or whatever style you have. You might be Philly shell, you might be high guard, you might be hand slow, whatever, right? Head movement, bah, bah, bah. I'm a boxer myself, you can't fucking see. Anyways, and so then you're gonna learn, for example, Mexican style, high guard, right? And so first couple times you're gonna be like this, right? You gotta really condition it in. Once you go in sparring, you're probably gonna do like this again, or you're probably gonna go with like this again. And you gotta condition that physical stance to be your new default. And now this is your boxing style, right? And so over time it becomes a conditioned habit, and now that's your boxing stance. Well, listen, it works the exact fucking way with mental stances, but people don't realize that. So you have a mental stance that you always come from, that you're used to coming from. So all that you do is interrupt the pattern, say not that, and you shift to the stance that you want, being confident, being authority, being I'm a top salesperson, being a winner, right? Being a productive, proactive person instead of reactive, okay? Being an initiative-taking person instead of just letting it come to you, whatever it may be, okay? And you shift into that, and you operate out of that, and you make that your new habit over time. That's how you do it, okay? And so I'm gonna tell you at the end of this video more about how to ingrain beliefs. But with that being said, you need to believe that you are a top salesperson, or even the top salesperson, okay? You need to believe and come from that mental stance, come from that identity, even though maybe you are not yet. And then people are always gonna tell me this fucking bullshit about, oh, competence creates confidence. No fucking shit, okay? Everybody knows that. Of course, once you get more competent, you get more confident, that's fucking logical, okay? But that doesn't mean that you can't already step into confidence before you are that competent. If you start learning sales from the mental position of, hey, I'm the best fucking salesperson, I'm a great goddamn communicator, I'm someone who influences people, okay? I go for what I want and I fucking get it. All those kinds of beliefs. If you start learning sales from that position versus, oh, I'm kind of new to this, oh, I'm not that good yet, oh, I'm still learning, I'm still new, I'm just learning the ropes here, you know, that identity is not going to allow you to learn it as fast. Simple. And you're not going to access as much of your capacity, okay? So the beliefs are highly important for you to actually learn faster and get to that external reality faster. If you look at any successful person, they'll tell you, you got to be it before you become it, okay? So you got to step into the beliefs of the top 1% salespeople before you are that, and then you will become the top 1% salesperson way fucking quicker, or even at all. With that being said, you also have to look at and dial into these top 1% salespeople. What do they believe about themselves? What are they like as people? Okay, because what someone is like as a person, that's also what they believe about themselves. Otherwise, they couldn't be like that. Okay, so they believe that they're charismatic. They believe that they're influential people. They believe that their words have power, that they have a great presence, that they have a great energy. They believe that they're, for lack of a better word, alpha people. Okay, they believe that they're authoritative. Okay, all those kinds of things. And if you don't believe that right now, then you're gonna look at the most important levers, one or two or whatever, okay? And you're gonna focus on that for a week. Every conversation you go into, you say to yourself, I'm coming from the mental stance that I'm an authoritative person, that I'm a leader. Or when you wake up in the morning, you say, I'm a proactive person. Okay, brush my teeth, do my meditation, go for my workout, bang out my calls. I'm a focused person, focus for the entire day, whatever. It's the combination of coming from the right identity, choosing it, coming from there and then taking action, and that will reinforce it. And then on top of that, the result that you get will reinforce the initial belief system. It's the belief that allows you to tap into more capacity, that allows you to take the right action and the right amount of action, that allows you to get the right result, and that reinforces the initial belief that you just fucking started with. And that's going to allow you to be a top 1% fucking performer, okay? Now, if you want to speed up this process, then you can add on top. You don't want to eliminate this, okay? You definitely want to do this. This is most important. But on top of that, to enforce and condition these belief systems even faster, you can also, besides these external actions from the right mental place, as we said, it's kind of a fake it till you make it, believe it till you achieve, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't give a shit, okay? It's about the actual thing. On top of that, what you can do is you can also use internal actions from this mental stance, okay? Because internal actions, you can do way more repetition, way more quickly. So you're gonna close your eyes in the morning, in the night, whatever, and you're gonna visualize yourself as coming from that person who's authoritative, as coming from that person who's a top level salesperson. Visualize yourself as it, see yourself, how do you speak, how do you stand differently, how do you think, etc. See yourself closing the deal. See yourself looking at the sheet at the end of the day. See yourself being the top performer. See yourself being called out on stage to be the top fucking performer. All of that stuff. And then from there on, you step into your body and look at it from the first eye perspective, and you hear how you speak. You feel how you feel differently in your body. All of that stuff. You go through a sensory experience because your brain cannot actually tell the difference between what is real and what you vividly imagine. So use it to your advantage instead of your motherfucking disadvantage. And then what you're gonna do is every single day, you're gonna write down in your iCloud notes, belief system at the top, I'm authoritative, I'm a leader, I am productive, I'm a hard worker, whatever, I'm a top level salesperson. And then whatever event you can think of, this is the last thing that you're gonna be able to do, of the past that indicates, even if it's a 0.1%, that belief system. So you sold ice cream once when you were 3 years old. Okay, that's maybe a little young, guys, but you sold ice cream once when you were fucking 9 years old, okay, to someone. Write it down. Shows that you're a top level salesperson. You convince your friends to go to this movie instead of that movie one time. Write it the fuck down. Okay? You got this girl to go out with you, even though you're an ugly fucking piece of shit. Write it down. Okay? All evidence that you can find, no matter how small, that indicates that you are a good communicator or you are a top level salesperson, whatever the belief system is that you want to look at, you write it down. That's the past. You look at it every single day. You read through it every single fucking day. That builds the references and it allows your focus to see more of it, okay? There was once a little experiment, I'll tell you super quick, in Ireland where they interviewed in this small village people about their belief systems and whatever, or about random shit, and then somewhere in the conversation they asked them, do you feel that you're lucky or unlucky? And the people that said they were lucky and unlucky, they followed them and they put $100 pound, whatever the fuck it is that over there, on the store in some on the floor in some store, and then 80% of the people who said they were lucky before, a couple weeks before, they saw it, they picked it up, and they were $100 richer. Okay, 80% of the people who said they were unlucky, they didn't see it, they didn't pick up it, they were not $100 richer. That shows you that your beliefs create your reality, okay? Beliefs create your actions, beliefs create what you see and what you don't see. Beliefs create what you will do and what you will not do. And that's why we're focusing on that. That's why we're focusing on that precedes the action, the tonality, the script, all of that. Because that creates that, okay? And this is the invisible that makes the visible. The invisible things that make the visible results. And once you've looked at those past data points, you look at it every single day, trains your brain to focus on it, trains your brain to really solidify those references and build that belief system even more. That you're gonna write out every single day 1 to 3 things that resemble and show you that you are that belief system. I made a hell of calls today. I convinced this person to fucking loan me money. I fucking whatever, right? In the present, every single day you write it down. And then the third step is you're gonna visualize random events that didn't happen, haven't happened, but will happen in the future. Like we just talked about. See yourself already winning. All of those things. This is all just data points for your mind to start sinking in that you are that. And you operate from that. You combine all of those things that I just said with operating consciously from that mental stance, pushing yourself to operate from there every single time, and you're gonna be an absolute killer, okay? This is the sauce that creates the magic. So I hope that helped. If you want to learn more about the actual direction that I recommend you go into in 2025 as a salesperson, where you can literally start making 10, 20, 30, 50K a month, 100K a month, okay, as a salesperson, because you're gonna have not only, this is the strategic side to implement the internal that we just talked about, you want to have high ticket upfront commissions, residuals on every contract that you close, team building ability guaranteed, not just dependent on the company's marketing, so that you're always exchanging your own time for money, your own skill for money still, okay? Get into a leveraged position where you have a team and you get a manager's fee over that team, okay? There's a guaranteed possibility to do so. And fourthly, literally be able, if you're in this for the long game, to sell your way into your retirement fund. Because the way that we set up this business, the way that we set up this career, is that you can literally own all of the contracts that you sell, and down the line, because there are residuals on these contracts, you can sell it to private equity for a one-time lump sum fee, just like an artist would sell their album catalog for an upfront fee so that the private equity investors can keep the residuals. Okay, if you want to know more about the best sales position you could possibly go into, click the link in the description. There's a 40-minute training, and at the end of that 40-minute training, where I'm going to show you the 3 steps on how to get into it. At the end, I'm going to show you how you can directly work with me one-on-one to get to 10K a month guaranteed in the next 90 days if you're a beginner, otherwise it could be more, and then get to 30K a month in the 90 days after that, because we'll actually build a team for you, because we have big brands and a lot of motherfuckers that want to work with us. All right? With that being said, I hope that helped. I'll see you in the next one, and maybe you and I will meet very soon.